All right, hey, what's going on, everybody out there in the world? How y'all doing? Just want to remind you, I'm recording this show on Twitch.tv/Wrestling with Heat podcast, and just gotta say welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Heat. Man, we got a lot of stuff going on in this July 4th edition. Happy holidays! Hope everyone's safe. Enjoy your barbecues. Enjoy the fireworks. Drink responsibly and all that good stuff. Pretty much gonna be spending my night doing homework. Basically, got a lot of stuff to catch up on, a lot of wrestling to watch too, and other stuff to do. Man, I'll get out there and enjoy some fireworks hopefully, but it's gonna be a busy day for me. Nevertheless, though, man, we got a lot on the ringer. We got AEW's Fyter Fest just went down last Saturday. What a show it was! Everybody's talking about the chair shot that Cody took, and I mean, I got to start off with this. I don't know what the big deal is. Everybody on Twitter and Instagram and the wrestling world is just talking about this unprotected chair shot, saying, "Oh, it's CTE and what we know about brain injuries and whatnot." Not WWE, AEW should be more cautious, and I disagree. I really do. I disagree with this stance that unprotected chair shot is bad. Like when Undertaker took one from Triple H, everybody was like, "Oh, okay, it's cool. It's WrestleMania. It's Undertaker. It's Triple H." But then when they do it at AEW, it's a really, really big deal for no reason. Like I get it. It's violent. He was bleeding, and the blade job was a little bit off. He got hit in the left side, and he was bleeding from the right side of his head. I get all that. I get it. It didn't look great, but Cody is a professional. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. And what I really took away from this match, the main thing that the match that he had with Darby Allin, was the fact that the chair shot overshadowed Darby Allin. I don't understand. Like, that was not the point of the chair shot. I think maybe in hindsight, they probably wouldn't have done it just for that reason, and that reason alone. Because it's not a big deal. There's a lot of other violent things, like you're overreacting about a chair shot to the head, but Joey Janela putting his heel in thumbtacks is okay. I'm a little bit lost by that. Someone has to walk me through that kind of logic, how that makes any sense. Let's see what else we had. I'm gonna get back to this match though. I'm just gonna see if there's anything else that I wanted to talk about. The opening tag team match on that show, man, was awesome. It went about as good as it could possibly, as AEW could have possibly hoped. Best friends, they beat SoCal Uncensored and Frankie Kazarian. They were able to get the job done. I'm not particularly caught off guard by that. I didn't really expect Private Party to win. That they were the one team that I was like, okay, they're definitely not going to win. Now SCU, I did pick them. I was thinking, okay, they'll probably win. They're the big stars here, but Best Friends, they're a better tag team. They make more sense. Like if it was Daniels and Kazarian, a tag team that's been around for a long time, I think that would have worked. Scorpio Sky is a relative new guy. Maybe that's the justification there, or maybe AEW just feels like there's bigger and better things for SCU. I'm not sure. They'll probably find their way in the tag team tournament either way. This match was just for a first round bye, or for an opportunity at a first round bye in the AEW World Tag Team Championship tournament. So I don't know who they're gonna face, but who Best Friends are gonna face in the future. But I'm interested by it. But man, this match was awesome. It was a really hot way to start the show. 16 minutes long. It was good. Good stuff. I dug it 100%. This was the lone bright spot of the buy-in, though, that I have to say. I have to be kind of critical of the buy-in. This was the lone bright spot of it. The whole librarian angle, I don't quite know where it's heading, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. It hasn't been promoted all that well. I mean, we saw it on Being the Elite for like the first couple of weeks. that like they got a big push, and there was this whole like who's the librarian, but ever since then they really haven't done anything with it after that. So I'm a little bit confused on the whole angle, but yeah, nothing really to see there. Ali beat Leva Bates. It was a pretty decent match. It was pretty good. That's really all I can say. It was just a fine wrestling match. Michael Nakazawa and Alex Jabali. Alex Jabali really busted his ass. Did some good stuff in there. Nakazawa, I don't really know a lot about either one of these guys. I thought it was funny though. He came out with the CEO gear, and he said he couldn't afford the models, so that got some heat from the fans. A little bit of a heelish action. I don't know if you really want to go and I don't know if he was really supposed to be the heel in this match, but he kind of was technically. I think that made him the heel by default, just for having him like the way he reacted to the models. That just made him a heel by default, and I don't know. I didn't really think it was the best use of Alex Jabali. I would have liked to seen something a little bit better from him. And I know Jim Cornette said the buy-in was librarians shushing each other and a hardcore match in a kiddie pool. That's essentially what it was, aside from the first match. Like I said, not the best showing, but this show Fyter Fest was not meant to be a real flagship show and a real major pay-per-view with major storyline implications and major implications for the future. So I can't really complain from what we got. Then we had Cima and Daniels open the show. I wasn't too invested in this match. It was fine. Cima got the win. I really liked it. I really liked the presentation, the way he went over. I really don't remember much from this match aside from that. Daniels, to me, he's lost a bit of a step, but he can still go. So, but I think he's better suited in an off-camera role. Once the AEW roster starts to fill out, I think we'll see him in an off-camera role. Then we had Rio defeating Yuka Sakazaki and Nyla Rose. I gotta be honest, I fell asleep during this match. I have to be 100% honest. And yeah, I don't remember much from it. But luckily I woke up in time for Adam Page and Jimmy Havoc, Jungle Boy, and MJF. And what was a good showcase for Adam Page. I like that they're doing a good storytelling with him, that he's willing to put his he's willing to sacrifice maybe his spot at the top of the ladder, because if he loses this match, he'll essentially, he'll still have his title shot, but it won't look good in his overall record if he loses a match going into his title shot. Because AEW is presenting themselves as a sport here, so I think he has to be careful with how many matches he takes, and he's selling the knee. It was good stuff, man. Pretty forgettable, but just from what I remember, it was good stuff. The match, though, that I really got to talk about is Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin. I talked about it at the intro, but got to talk about it more in depth. Cody Rhodes, Darby Allin. This match far exceeded expectations, and they fought to a time limit draw, so it was a no finish. But because AEW implemented time limits, which they didn't really announce beforehand, and they didn't have time limits at Double or Nothing to the best of my recollection, so this was a new thing that AEW did for this show specifically. I don't know if we're going to see it moving forward. Maybe I'll see it when I'm at Fight for the Fallen. I don't know. I can't wait for that show, by the way, man. I'm so excited. I got my tickets. Gonna drive up there, about a 3-hour drive. I really can't wait to see that show, man. I'm super excited for Cody and Dustin versus the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega versus Cima. It's gonna be some good, high quality action. Yeah, Cody versus Darby Allin. The finish did a lot for Darby. It was better than having Cody beat him, and the finish didn't make Cody look weak at all, because Darby showed that he's willing to risk his life to win the match. The plancha, like the plancha dive, whatever you want to call it, that he did off the top turnbuckle, where he basically launched himself like a missile, landing back first on the corner of the apron, was one of the most impressive things that I've seen in a wrestling ring in a long, long time. If you haven't seen that GIF or that clip, you need to go find it. This should have been what people were talking about. This spot and Darby Allin's breakout performance. It's unfortunate that the post match chair shot is what everybody is talking about. It really is, because Darby Allin had a star making performance here, and hats off to Cody Rhodes for using his platform and using his high ranking executive's position along with his wrestling skills to create a new star in Darby Allin for his company. This guy is relatively unheard of. You know, he's a different guy. His character is very dark, probably close to the real guy. And Cody's done a lot with him, from taking this like punk skater kid and making him one of the hottest things in wrestling right now. But I talked about it earlier. Post match, after Cody and Darby were having a little moment in the ring, Cody was like, "Damn, this kid's pretty good." Blah blah blah. In comes Shawn Spears, formerly known as Ty Dillinger in WWE, and the announcers were hyping it up, like, "Oh, this is Shawn Spears. This is one of Cody's best friends, somebody that he worked with in WWE, a mentor." Blah 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 blah. He's in there with a chair, and they're like, "Oh, what is he doing out here?" Cody turns around, he eats a chair shot, unprotected chair shot to the head from Shawn Spears. And everybody was like, "Oh my God, what is happening?" People were absolutely losing their minds over this chair shot. It was like I went on Twitter and I thought there would be some backlash, but I was completely off guard. I'm just seeing like tweet after tweet. I'm like, yo, why are people freaking out about this chair shot? I mean, yes, we know CTE. We know the damage of it. We know. And Jim Ross hammered that home on commentary. I thought that was a good look for the company to not mention it when other companies are reluctant to mention it. Jim Ross hammering it home was great. But Cody, man, hats off to him for taking this chair shot. Hats off to him for making this match controversial. I didn't think it would get quite the controversy that it did, but I'm glad that people are talking about it. I mean, Fyter Fest was the #1 trend worldwide for some time. It was trending more than the UFC fight that was going on and whatever soccer match was going on. I think there was a soccer match, but yeah, this was a big part of it. This match and then the post match, like people were just going insane about this. Like the hits. I posted a video on my Instagram, and the hits on that was like almost 1,000 views in like a half hour. It was nuts. People were really buzzing about this, and AEW did a good job doing some house cleaning on this. They had Tony Khan. Tony Khan was talking about it on a press conference. I'm trying to pull up the link here. Let me see if I got it. Yeah, he was talking about it on a press conference, and he said, "We called the doctor immediately. It was obviously really regrettable what happened." Khan said, "I don't know if this is the time to go into what happened, but we had taken precautions in this situation, in that specific situation. A doctor was available, and Cody does not have a concussion, and he has staples, and we're all very grateful for that." Cody did show off on Twitter and Instagram that he had 10 staples, legitimate staples apparently. I don't know if he was busted open the hard way or not. I don't think he was. I think it was a blade job just from the way it looked, but I don't know for sure. I can't comment. I can't comment on it. I'm not Cody Rhodes. Man, this was like incredible, and it's kind of funny that now it's Thursday as I'm recording this. Show was last Saturday. People have already forgotten about this moment. It seems like I guess it's just how quick nature the wrestling business is. And WWE did something pretty controversial too that might have topped this, to be honest. And I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. For any of you that saw Raw, you already know what I'm talking about. Man, it was just what an incredible moment. I can't keep hammering that home enough. But yeah, let's move on from that, I guess. Well, no, let's spend another minute on there. So Shawn Spears, he offered a little bit of a tease as to why he did what he did, and he posted a clip from Cody talking in an episode of The Road to Double or Nothing, where he called Shawn Spears a nice hand. He's like, "Oh, that kid's a good hand. Maybe he'll be a trainer for us. He'll be an underneath guy." And I think that's going to be the story, because Cody was looking at, I don't know if that was for real or not, but Cody was looking at Shawn Spears as someone that's not a main eventer, and Shawn Spears sees himself as a main eventer. So there's tons of good story work in here. You know, we've got the story with Cody and Dustin, but now we have something to push Cody in for All Out. Possibly that's probably the direction that we're gonna see is Shawn Spears versus Cody for All Out, and it's gonna show why Shawn Spears is not just a good hand, but why he is indeed a main eventer, and he's someone that can help carry the boat or help carry the wagon and push the boat for AEW, and someone that WWE misused heavily misused Shawn Spears. So I'm kind of excited for that. That's what I think is going to happen, man. All Out, Chicago. We're going to have Cody versus Shawn Spears. I'm looking forward to it, man. Then, real quick, we got to talk about the Elite, the original Elite. Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson in their Street Fighter cosplay. Pretty badass gear. I don't know a whole lot about Street Fighter. I can't remember who was who. I know one of them was Ken, and I can't remember the other characters' names. I just remember Ken. I think it was Matt that was Ken, and it was awesome stuff. They faced the Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid. Laredo Kid was the star of the show to me, just doing crazy flips and kicks and Hurricane Ranas, and this was everything that it was and everything that we thought it would be and more. Definitely, I would say this was the match of the night. I don't think anything topped this. A lot of people think Moxley and Janela stole the show in the main event, but I think this was it, man. There's nothing really to talk about this. There's no really real talking points here. There's no story, progression. It was just a really great match and a really good showcase for the Elite. In the main event, Jon Moxley defeated Joey Janela in a non-sanctioned match, and AEW went as far as to say this match is not part of the Fyter Fest show. The Fyter Fest show ended after the Elite and the Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid match. When the lights go out. When the lights are going to go out, when the lights come back on, we're going to have this unsanctioned match between Jon Moxley and Joey Janela. And from that moment, it had a big fight feel. There was a lot of buzz in the crowd, and people knew what was going to happen. At least I did. I knew what was going to happen, knowing Joey Janela and Jon Moxley pretty well. We know, of course, the masses know Jon Moxley, and you could see that the crowd popped for him huge. He probably might have got the biggest pop of the night. It's tough. Either him or the Elite, but man, Joey Janela became a star on this day. This was an incredibly violent match. Joey Janela jumping off the ladder. We had the board, the barbed wire board. That was used quite often. We saw Moxley get dumped into that. We had the thumbtacks. Joey Janela got his thumbtacks caught in his heels, and he was bleeding and he was wincing in pain. It was a rather gross spot, if I don't say so myself. It was gross, Jon Moxley though was able to get the win in 20 minutes, and really what I have to say about this match is, okay, this guy has arrived. He's arrived in AEW. He's had his first official match. It's official. It's really happening now. This man is really outside of WWE, and we finally get to see what he's all about. And if there's one thing to take away from this show is that AEW clearly believes in Moxley. They put him in the main event. They know he's got the mainstream appeal. They know people are going to know him. They're going to be like, oh, that's Dean Ambrose from WWE. If you see him on Twitter, you're like, oh, I know that guy. Okay. And yeah, it was an excellent use of his star power. Just really, really good for him that this company has faith in him, and he's showing that he's worth the investment. He went out there and he had every bit of a hardcore match that you would expect. Like, this was something that you wouldn't see on any other wrestling program, mainstream wrestling program, or just any program on TV. You sure wouldn't see it. No pay-per-view, nothing like that. It was everything that it was advertised and more. These two fought like hell, and I was impressed as a fan. Overall, the show, I thought the show was good. I didn't think it was the best wrestling show I've ever seen. Nothing close to that. I've seen plenty of good wrestling shows, better wrestling shows than this, but this was good. This was one of those shows that, it was pretty top heavy. The last three matches were really what I was looking forward to the most, but just wow at the main event. That's really all I got, man. It was great. Um, better than I expected. I thought, I didn't think the 3-way tag match was going to be as good as it was. I didn't think the Fatal 4-way match was going to be as good as it was. But it was just a show, like I said. Just a show. Didn't do a lot for the future. I mean, aside from the Cody and Shawn Spears angle, aside from that, nothing really was used to build toward the next show or All Out or even their TV show. Nothing like that. No being the elite angles. Nothing of that line. I mean, overall, I'd have to give the show a B. I thought it was a solid B. It wasn't an A minus or an A like Double or Nothing was, but this was a great follow up for that show. And something too that was relatively unpromoted, or it was not. There was no heavy machine behind this. No millions of dollars being poured into promoting this show and making sure that people were there. And it wasn't a full house, but it was what it was. 5,000 people showed up. I mean, it was at a gaming convention too. So I mean, AEW said they're gonna run it again, but I don't know if mixing wrestling and gaming is the best use of the best way to draw wrestling fans, though, because I don't think a lot of gamers are really interested in what's going on. I don't know. That's just me, but gotta move on. We gotta talk Raw, but wow, yeah, I'm Raw, man. This was allegedly Paul Heyman's first show in charge. I don't know. I haven't really read anything about that. If anyone else knows, please enlighten me, because I'd love to know, because Paul Heyman, if he was in charge of this show, did his thing, man. This was one of the best Raws that I've seen in a long time. One of the best Raws in maybe like 2 to 3 years. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, and I can't really think of one, but I just know this show was damn good. We had, it started off hot. We had Braun and Bobby Lashley come out for their Falls Count Anywhere match, and it got hot and heavy right away, and we saw a massive angle being shot. This was massive. Like, the show starts with this huge angle that's going to have future implications. So pretty much during the match, at the end of the match, really, we see Lashley and Strowman fighting out on the stage. They're beating each other up, what have you. Braun Strowman pushes Lashley up against the arena structure at the entrance. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but the stage basically. And he backs up and he charges at Lashley and destroys the whole stage. We see sparks flying. They're running into the soundboards, and Corey Graves yells on commentary, sums it up perfectly, and he goes, "Holy shit!" He dropped the S-bomb. I'm sure he's gonna get fined for that one. 100%. That was really the biggest thing that I took away, because I know it's an angle. It's pro wrestling. I just wasn't ready for Corey Graves to drop an S-bomb on live TV, and I'm glad he did. It was an awesome moment. It added so much more to it, and the way it was shot to the angle. They got backstage. They showed Lashley's head hitting the ground and the sparks and the fire. Very dangerous, very high risk angle. They did the ambulance spot. I mean, this took up like a half hour of the show. Like there was no promos, nothing. It just started off hot. And if this was Paul Heyman's first show, this was Paul Heyman saying, "Hey, we are going to start my era. We're going to kick my era off with a bang. A really loud gunshot bang, and we're going to show everybody that we're here and we're doing things differently." Because this felt ECW like, this felt 97, 98 WCW like. This did not have a PG feel. Not a PG feel at all. I was watching this and I heard about it because I didn't get to see this show live. I was doing stuff, studying, whatnot, and I heard about it. People were texting me like, "Yo, you got to see this." So I watched it. I stopped what I was doing and I put this on my DVR and I watched it, and I was incredibly amazed at the way it was shot. Just everything, man. The overall presentation of the angle, man. Hopefully Strowman and Lashley are okay. This looked like it really hurt. I'm sure it did. I mean, obviously they're fine. Allegedly Strowman has a shoulder injury and a ruptured spleen. That's what WWE said on SmackDown. And some people think that that's legit. I don't know if it is. more power to him. Hopefully, he has a speedy recovery. We did see a continuation of the angle on Tuesday. We saw Lashley in the hospital room talking about how when he sees Braun Strowman, he's going to send him to the morgue. So this feud is far from over, and in 30 minutes, WWE did more with Bobby Lashley. In 30 minutes of one Raw, they did more with Bobby Lashley since he came back in 2018. Which is just mind-blowing that it took Paul Heyman's genius to get something out of Bobby Lashley when nobody else could. Like, we saw the corny sister segment, whatever it was, what, I don't know, whatever. But now this is the start of maybe a new and improved Bobby Lashley. Maybe he's going to see the TV time that he got, and maybe he'll be better. That'll push him just to be that much better than he already is. I don't know. We'll see. See what other notes we got from Raw. Let me see what else I got here. Another really the biggest, the next biggest story, and this show was full of massive angles. The next biggest thing was the Mike Kanellis promo with Becky and Seth Rollins. Just that whole match, that whole promo, that whole segment was just wild. In one word, if I had to describe it, it was wild. It started off with an interview segment with Becky and Seth Rollins being interviewed by Charlie Caruso, and Becky and Seth were doing some couple banter, like Rollins saying, "You should listen to me," and Becky's like, "No, I run this," like just doing some funny stuff, some good acting. And then Rollins was like, "Oh, I got lucky," and she was like, "Yep, you're damn right," started poking his stomach. And then right then and there, insert Maria Kanellis, someone that we haven't seen in on TV. I don't know how long it's been. I know she's on 205 Live with Mike, but man, we hadn't seen her on Raw. I don't think we've seen her on Raw in maybe 6 months. I don't know. It's been a while at least. And then she cuts this promo about how she wants to see her husband take the Universal title off of Seth, and then she calls him her bitch. That had me rolling. Like, Rollins was looking at him like, "Yo, you whips, bro," and she was like, she looks at Seth, and she's like, "I'm gonna beat you and your bitch with my bitch," and I was just laughing so hard. Like, good stuff. And then Graves quoted her on commentary during the mixed tag match. Because of course everything leads to a match. It's WWE Pro Wrestling. Y'all know the drill. But yeah, so we get out to the ring. And the start of the match, we see Maria yelling at Mike when Rollins takes him down. She's like, "Come on, get it together now!" Like, yelling at him, just putting him down. And then we see, after a little while of Rollins beating up Mike, we see Rollins throw Mike's hand into Maria's hand, and Maria is like, "Oh shit, like, I gotta get in the ring with Becky. Oh no, I can't do that." So she runs out, she grabs an open mic. The mic wouldn't work. She's like slamming on the mic, and she's yelling, "Mike, how could you do this? You're supposed to take care of Rollins. You swore to me you're gonna take care of him and get in the title picture, blah blah blah, whatever." And then Becky goes out to confront her, and she's like, "No, I'm pregnant." And Becky was gonna hit her, and she was like, "No, I can't hit her." So she just rubbed her belly, and then Mike is like, "What?" He's like shocked, like, "Babe, we're pregnant? What do you mean?" And she goes, "Well, I don't know how I got pregnant, because you're not man enough to do it." Completely chops his nuts off again. And then after that, Becky taps out Mike Kanellis with the disarm him, I guess. And then she's like, "How could you let Becky tap you out? Maybe I'll just let Becky impregnate me." And it was the line of the week. That was the line of the week. Everybody was talking about this promo. One of the best lines, and just shows how good Maria can be when given an opportunity. I don't know why her and her husband were not being used. I don't understand. And this is another situation where these people haven't been on Raw or SmackDown in a long time, and we see in the matter of one promo segment, they're one of the hottest things going. This was the second most talked about thing from this Raw, and I don't understand like why it took so long to get these two on TV. They were one of the hottest things outside of WWE for a reason, and Maria literally is one of the hottest things in WWE. I don't get it, but then we see, of course, a dirt sheet writer, I think it was Mike Johnston, questioned Maria's legitimacy, like if she's really pregnant. So of course she posts on Instagram um, a picture of the pregnancy test, confirming that she is indeed pregnant. What a great angle! True to life angles are always great, and I think most people can relate to a crazy wife, crazy girlfriend, or most men can relate to being put down by their wife or by their girlfriend, ex-wife, whatever it is. I think a lot of people can relate to that. It was an awesome true to life story. I hope we get to see more of Mike and Maria in the future, especially Mike. Mike's a damn good wrestler, man. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, yeah, he was made to look like a goof and an asshole here, but that could push him to new limits and push him to new heights. People would sympathize for him if Maria treats him terribly like she does, and just saying mean things to him and putting him down. I think you could really build a good, strong, sympathetic babyface out of him. That's just me. I see gold in him. I don't know. This is a good potential revitalization for the two of them, and I'm hoping that it works out for him. Let's see what else we got for Raw. Oh yeah, of course. I almost forgot about this. AJ Styles versus Ricochet for the U.S. title. I didn't like the ref reversing the decision because so AJ pins Ricochet, gets the 1, 2, 3, but Ricochet's foot is underneath the bottom rope. And then afterwards, another ref comes out and it's like, oh no, we gotta reverse the decision, bro. We can't let this happen. Ricochet had his foot under the bottom rope. But then when they want to use the foot under the bottom rope as an angle and say, oh, you never really beat me, let's have a rematch at the next pay-per-view, WWE does that when they please. So I was a little bit annoyed by that whole angle. I didn't think it was necessary. I didn't think we had to have that. I think we could have just had a straight up wrestling match and Ricochet could have just straight up beat AJ. He beat him anyway. He pinned him clean anyway. I don't know why we had to have the whole garbage where AJ technically won but didn't win. I didn't understand all that, but I'm not here. I'm not a booker. Whatever. AJ turning heel. This was an exact carbon copy almost of when he turned heel on John Cena, and he had Gallows and Anderson there. They were doing the whole too sweet. AJ did the Super Styles Clash. He landed. He pushed Ricochet's arms off of him. He was pounding on him. Ricochet was blocking. He pushed his arms back and he started hitting him unprotected. Good stuff. Good stuff there. Overall, good segment. I'm glad that we finally got AJ heel again. I love seeing the fire in AJ. To me, AJ's at his best when he's wrestling with fire. When he's out there working a little stiffer, he's hitting a little harder. To me, that's the best AJ. Yes, high flying AJ is good. Sympathetic babyface AJ is great. But to me, this is my favorite version of AJ Styles, and I'm glad to see the club back together. This felt a little bit different though, than the original turn on John Cena, because AJ was still a relative newcomer. Now that the whole WWE audience knows who he is, and they know who Gallows and Anderson are, they know about the Japanese roots and the Bullet Club. They know about all that now. Now this is 100% different, and I think they're going to be maybe the focal point of Raw moving forward. That's certainly the way it seems. Of course, Seth Rollins and Becky are still there, but to me it really seems like the Bullet Club, or the club, is going to be the 100% focus, and it makes a lot of sense. AJ Styles is one of those guys that you can build any and every company around. So the heel turn was great. I'm sure a lot of people were complaining about it. A lot of people complaining, oh, the club is the Gallows and Anderson. They're not on TV. How are we supposed to buy into them? Well, you just do it. That's it. They're great. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, enough about Raw. Let's move on to SmackDown. Let me see what we got for SmackDown. I'm gonna pull up the notes here. Kevin Owens turn babyface. To me, that's the highlight of the show. I'm not sure if anything else is worth talking about, honestly, other than that. Yeah, I mean, Kofi and Joe had a good promo, but Joe is a little bit one-dimensional to me, and I'm kind of tired of him saying the same thing over and over again. I don't know. The segment was just forgettable to me. Like, we get it. You're going to beat Kofi. You're going to end the fairy tale run. And Kofi, we get it. You beat Ziggler alone. You know, like, just Joe bringing up the fact that he used the New Day is kind of old. That's what Owens said. That's what Dolph said. I don't know. It didn't do it for me. But we did have a tag team match with Dolph and Kevin Owens versus Heavy Machinery to get a number one or to add that to be added to the tag team title match versus the New Day and Daniel Bryan and Rowan at Extreme Rules. So this basically came about from an opening promo segment. Kevin Owens had the Kevin Owens show. We saw Shane and Drew out there as a guest. Shane had these pre-written cue cards for Owens to read off of. Owens is reading the cue cards, looking very uninterested. You know, McIntyre and Shane were going on and on about The Undertaker and how they weren't scared when Owens showed them clearly being scared, acting like a babyface. In hindsight, I should have seen it coming that he was going to turn, but I didn't see it. Then Dolph makes his way out, and he's like, yo, you know, should have been me, blah, blah, blah. He didn't really even get to say anything. But Kevin Owens was like, we know, it should have been me, it should have been me. Hello, what's going on? Pinkman Gaming, what's up? Dolph, you know, he's like, oh, it should have been me, it should have been you. Then Owens says, it should have been you 8 years ago, but it wasn't. It didn't happen. Get over it. Stop talking about it. And the way he said it was awesome. It was very cunning, and he was just being very passionate and being open and honest. And a lot of people think he cut the Ziggler in half. I mean, I think it was a great promo. It really made Ziggler look foolish, and it made you want to see Ziggler get punched in the face even more. So, but of course, in typical SmackDown fashion, we got a tag team match playa, and at the end of the show, from that opening KO show segment. So, Heavy Machinery gets the win. Afterwards, KO beats up Ziggler, and that's it. We get a babyface turn for Kevin Owens, and I'm looking forward to it. I think Eric Bischoff obviously sees big things from Kevin Owens, and we're gonna see a different KO that we haven't seen. I think with Eric Bischoff's creative and his like vision and his foresight for things, I don't see why we won't see a different version of KO. Yeah, so that was SmackDown. Let's see what else we got on the ringer. I want to talk about the NJPW show that we have coming up. The G1 is here in Dallas. I'm a little surprised that New Japan picked Dallas for the venue. I thought, of all places to come in the United States, why Dallas? I mean, yeah, Dallas is bigger than like the Carolinas or like Washington State or something, but why not Chicago? You know, why not New York? We get it. We know they did the MSG show back at WrestleMania weekend, but why stop there? Why not New York again, or why not LA? I mean, Texas is a big wrestling town, but is Texas the biggest possible wrestling town they could have got? You know, it has a lot of history with the Von Erichs, and obviously Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, a lot of legends are from there. But I don't know if it's the best possible use. And the show has received also very little promotion too, so I'm wondering if it's even going to sell out, and if people are even going to be coming to if it's going to be a full house. They're running the American Airlines Center, and that's like at least a 10,000 seat arena, minimal. But it's a pretty loaded show, and I think a lot of people were disappointed that Jon Moxley's not going to be on the show. He is in the G1, but he can't be on this show because it's going to be on American soil, and it's going to be broadcast on American pay-per-view. I'm sure it's going to be on Fight. So that was obviously a conflict of interest, and I get it 150%. I get why Moxley's not on the show. It would have been awesome if he was, because they could have done Moxley and Okada. They could have done Moxley and Kenta. That would have been a cool match. But so the match lineup for this for this show, I'm just gonna go over the G1 matches because if you watch New Japan, they load up the undercard of the main shows with a lot of tag team matches, and they're just random matches, no story involved. But we've got Will Ospreay and Lance Archer. That's gonna be the first match. That's gonna be the first match of the 2019 G1. Will Ospreay has been on an absolute tear. Will Ospreay is a lot of people's MVPs in the wrestling business today, or this year rather. He's having a better year. I mean, arguably better year than AJ Styles, than Seth Rollins, and all those guys. We haven't seen a lot from AEW. There's still a lot of 2019 left to go, but the first half of the year has belonged to Will Ospreay. Incredible match he had with Taichi. He had just match after match. Man, he's been on a tear. So Lance Archer, he's not known for being a great worker. He was a part of a tag team with David Hart Smith. He was not known for being a particularly fantastic between the ropes guy. He's more of a power guy, but Ospreay can carry anyone to a match, and I think the big man little man dynamic here is going to work well, and the American crowd's obviously going to love Will Ospreay. Let's see. Then we have Evil versus Bad Luck Fale. Pretty regulars of New Japan. Bad Luck Fale, he hasn't been used a lot. He's just kind of there right now. Evil, part of Los Ingobernables de Japón. He's a guy that'll deliver on like smaller shows. They'll put him in there against Okada. I like that. I like that he is seen as a main event guy, so you're able to take him serious. But this is not going to be a highlight match. This will probably be one of the shorter matches. But these two can both go, so I wouldn't be surprised if the crowd's super into it. Then Sonata, Zack Sabre Jr. Anytime you put Zack Sabre Jr. in a ring, it's going to be one of the best matches of the night, if not the best match. Zack Sabre Jr. might be the best technical wrestler ever. I know a lot of people really dig him. I'm a big fan. I don't really think he's the best technical wrestler ever. I know Meltzer said that Daniel Bryan would tell you that he is. I don't know. But, yeah, this is going to be one to pay attention to. And then we've got Kenta versus Cody Ibushi. Kenta making his return to New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm very excited for this. He was wearing like a shirt that said Takeover. Pretty cool. Good pun. Good way to use his WWE notoriety. Good way to take a shot at him too. He's coming back to New Japan as a bigger star than he was when he went there, or when he went to WWE. Now he's going to be a big deal. Obviously, he's got the co-main event spot. His run in WWE was a bit of a shame. It really was the way it went down. The neck injury. Then he had multiple other injuries. Every time he came back, he got hurt. He finally got his NXT Takeover title match. I can't remember who it was that he faced now. I think it was Bobby Lashley. No, not Bobby Lashley. Bobby Roode. But yeah, good stuff. He did some good stuff on 205 Live. But now it's time for him to return home, and he and Ibushi are going to tear the house down. I mean, Ibushi, the stuff that he did with Kenny Omega, that match that they had against the Young Bucks in LA for the G1 special a few years back, or I don't know whatever special it was for New Japan, awesome, absolutely awesome stuff. Ibushi is maybe more athletic than Ospreay. I don't think so. I think Ospreay's got him beat, but Ibushi's in that class of athleticism with Ospreay. This is going to be a very quick paced match. A lot of strong style stuff, but I mean, you've got two great high flyers here that are going to absolutely tear the house down. I wouldn't be surprised if this was match of the night. And then in the main event, you've got the heavy hitters of New Japan, the ring bearer, the current ring bearer, and the ring bearer from Last Generation. It's kind of like Japan's version of Hogan Austin or Rock Hogan. Okada, Kazuchika Okada versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. Man, it's gonna be cool to see this one on American soil. It's gonna be cool. I'm gonna be tuned in. I'm really excited for this. Okada's clearly the best wrestler in the world, best overall performer. Maybe not in the world, but clearly the best overall performer in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Tanahashi can still go at his age. these two had a good match at Wrestle Kingdom not long ago. So I mean, you're putting your best foot forward. This is the best possible main event they could do. This was the best possible main event they could get. Obviously, with Kenny Omega not there, if Kenny Omega was there, seeing Kenny Omega Okada 5 would have been great in Dallas, Texas, on American soil. But unfortunately, that wasn't in the cards, and it is what it is, right? Yeah, we got to catch that. New Japan World, if you're already a member, sign up. If you're not a member, sign up. I'm sure it's going to be on Fight TV. This G1 is looking stacked, man. I can't. This is just the A block. Just wait till we get to the B block of the G1. Moving forward, I'll be talking about this. I'll be talking about it here and there. I felt like I needed to talk about this one in particular because it is happening in Texas. But yeah, if you're watching this video right now and you're not following the channel, please hit that follow button. I would appreciate it. And catch the show on the audio version is going to be available on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, website wrestlingwithheat.podbean.com. Got everything out, and then I also put it up on the YouTube channel. YouTube channel is Wrestling with Heat. Videos go up there immediately after. I'm gonna upload it right now. And thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening wherever you're listening. And I'll talk to you guys probably tomorrow. I'm gonna be talking about UFC 239. John Jones versus Thiago Santos, Amanda Nunes versus Holly Holm. Super excited for that. So I'll be coming to you tomorrow again talking about that stuff. But for now, take care, everybody.